Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Everything Podcast. I am your host, Fozzie, or Cam, and I'm also here with my co host, Will. How are you today, Will?
I am doing great, Cam. Really, excited to be on again and do this second podcast. A lot going on in the world, so excited to talk about it.
Yes, definitely. Um, and we're going to do pretty much the same thing as last week. I also just realized I'm wearing the same exact shirt as I wore last week. But anyway,
Cool.
um, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start off with some news, social media drama, some of that. And then Will's going to cover some sports news. He's going to mostly focus on the NBA playoffs right now. And after that, I'll be talking about some vi- video game news, gaming news, with some with the game of the week, and then will discuss our movie of the week, and then that'll be our podcast. So I'm gonna start off with some of our news, and we don't have much of it this week, but I'll just cover the first stories that we have. So there's a YouTube group, pardon me, called the FaZe Clan, and people are mad at them for scamming people because they promoted a crypto coin thing. I'm not really completely competent on like all that crypto stuff, but people are mad at them because they're scamming because they're actually making tons of money from promoting that. I don't know why people are mad because it's a sponsor, and I believe if you sponsor someone, you should get money for it, right? Do you agree with that, Will?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Cam. That's
So,
just that's just simply part of business there, I feel like.
yeah, I'm not exactly sure why people are that mad. Maybe there's a little bit, there's a story that I'm not really, 100% like, know the full story, but that just sounds
Yeah,
kind of weird to me.
that is weird.
And last week we talked about Social Gloves doing part two for the fight. Well, they're going bankrupt. Or so some people speculate. Austin McBroom, one of the fighters in that fight, he actually owns part of Social Gloves. And he says it's nowhere near to bankrupt. And he says the official numbers for the money that they made from the fight haven't even come in yet. So I'm not really sure why the fans were saying that. They should just wait until the official numbers come out to make any speculations like that. And next we have popular Minecraft YouTuber Tommy Innit. Now he made a joke about passing this other YouTuber, Minimeter, in subscribers. At that time, he was at 7 million, and Minimeter was at 9 million. Let me just, yeah, you know what? I'll just keep going. Yeah, so Tommy has actually passed him.
All right.
So he went from 7 million to 9 point whatever million, but it's more than the YouTuber Minimeter has. And I think that's kind of sad because let me just
I can
reference
understand that.
Tommy Innit is 17 years old. 17. He just turned 17. And he's passing very popular YouTubers like Minimeter, who's in the Sidemen, one of the biggest YouTube groups. So I think that's really good for Tommy Innit, and I definitely congratulate him. Alright, so that is the end of the drama. Like I said, it was very short. And take it away, Will, with our sports news.
All right. First of all, I would like to say great segment there, Cam.
Thank you.
Appreciate you doing that as always with social media news and so on and so forth. Getting to the sports world, there are a couple things we could actually cover with some things going on with NBA coaches
Mm.
right
Oh,
now, but you mentioned it, and this is really where I want to start, and it's the NBA playoffs because that's the kind of one of the bigger things going on in sports right now. I know
oh,
there was
definitely.
game one of the Stanley Cup last night, but the NBA playoffs last night we had the Clippers at the Suns. Suns coming into that game with a 5-1 or 3-1 rather, series lead with a chance to win the series and move on to the NBA Finals and get a step closer to getting Chris Paul his first NBA title, which he is so deserving of. But
I agree for sure.
that did not happen, my friend. Instead, the Clippers just continued to play well under pressure like they have done all playoffs, and they won that game 116 to 102 behind a playoff career high 41 points for Paul George. And, Cam, we can talk about, Paul George, and besides missing some crucial free throws, kind of how he's started to change his playoff narrative a little bit in this postseason. We could get into that, but I just want to start by saying this. The Clippers are just one of the most fascinating teams that I've ever seen in my years watching the NBA. I mean, they're just fascinating. It's like they can't win unless they're under pressure, basically. I mean, you start off, you fall down 0-2 to the Mavericks, and then you tie that series up at 2-2, and then you fall down 3-2 against Dallas, and then you go on and win that series in 7 games. Then you drop the first 2 games against the Jazz, and then you win 4 games after that, and then you drop the first 2 against Phoenix, and then you win 1 against Phoenix, and then you drop game 4 against Phoenix, and then you win game 5 against Phoenix. This team is just fascinating, Cam, with its ups and downs, and yet through all of that, the ability to play well under pressure. I am fascinated by this team.
And we have to remember the fact that for most of this, they were missing their star player,
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard, with a knee injury, which is amazing.
That's a great point. I guess the main reason that I bring that up is because this was also going on while Kawhi Leonard was playing. But absolutely, that is something that we need to point out. Absolutely, because you need your superstar to win in the NBA. I think that's been pretty official over the years. And then, Cam, what has your take been on Paul George? Really, overall, he has stepped up big time since Kawhi Leonard went down for the Los Angeles Clippers. He obviously missed some crucial free throws in Game 2 of this series, missed a couple more a little earlier in it as well. So the free throws he has missed, those have not been good here, Cam. But Paul George has started to change his playoff narrative in this postseason, and I am happy for him because he is a good person.
Oh, I agree. But I feel like Paul George is one of those players who's always just he's consistent. He never has a horrible game.
Right.
He never just like some of the players on the Nets, maybe Kyrie. I mean, that might be a poor example, but we'll use Kyrie as an example. He does not always give it 100%, and he does not always play the best that he possibly can. Whereas Paul George, always 100%, always doing his best, playing his hardest, and I can definitely admire that, and I definitely think that's a huge contributor to why they're doing so good in the playoffs right now.
That's a really, really good point, Cam, and something that I hadn't really thought of before. I'll always being that solid contributor that you're talking about, and never having a bad game like that can go a long, long way in what type of success your team wants to have that season. So that's a really good point and something that I hadn't thought of. Also, Cam, I'm going to say it, gigantic game for tonight. Milwaukee at Atlanta. It's going to be at 5:30 on TNT. And Trae Young should still be listed as questionable right now. He obviously injured his ankle in the last game by stepping on the ref's foot. Ref did nothing wrong. He was out of bounds. So, no harm, no foul when it comes to that. But, a big game for tonight, Cam, and you know what falling down 3-1 means. So this is all about the Hawks.
I'm just gonna say, if the Hawks have Trae Young, they are going to win. That's just what I'm gonna say.
Why?
I feel like Trae Young, he's a young player, and if he doesn't get hurt during that game, he will be a lethal weapon for that team, and he will shoot, and he will hit most of his shots. And the contributor I saw for their team, they get so many offensive rebounds. They have, I'm blanking on all their names right now, but they have big veterans. I'm, again, blanking on their names. If you remember, feel free to say them.
Okay.
But they have veterans on their team who are willing to, step out and kind of let Trae Young hold the ball for a while. And then when he shoots, if he misses, they'll just get all the offensive rebounds, put it back up, boom, two.
Hmm. Yeah, that is a good point. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't name like all of that, but I know they have Lou Williams off their bench, and I think Bogdanovich on that team too. So yeah, no, like they definitely do have like veterans on that team for sure. Look, could Atlanta win tonight if Trae Young plays? Yeah, sure. I could see that, but I just think that down the stretch of this series, I do think the Bucks will end up winning. I just think they have more talent. So I think Milwaukee's winning this series, Cam, because even if, Holiday and Middleton haven't been extremely good during the playoffs, they have a big three who can all score in Antetokounmpo, Middleton, and Drew Holiday. And nothing against, the other guys on the Hawks, but their main scorers, Trae Young. So I think I got the Bucks winning this series in the end.
Now this
Nothing
one,
against John Collins and all those guys on the Hawks.
okay. So this is what I'm gonna ask you. Do you think if the Bucks lose, do you think they will fire
Budenholzer?
Yes, I was blanking on his name for a second. Do you think they will fire him?
Absolutely 100%, because this will be 3 straight playoffs where you have something, where you have a pretty big loss. 2019, you win games 1 and 2 against the Raptors, and then you lose 4 straight. That's a bad thing to have in your resume. And then last year, you're supposed to be in the NBA Finals, and instead you lose 3-1 in the Eastern Conference semifinals. So yes, I would absolutely fire Mike Budenholzer if the Bucks lose, because it would just be too much of kind of unfulfilling expectations.
I agree, but the only thing with bringing in a new coach is that he might change things up. He might trade Giannis. I mean, do I think it
Yes,
would be the
but let me
smartest?
ask you this though, Cam, if you wouldn't mind quickly. Sorry to cut in, but we saw the Philadelphia 76ers fire Brett Brown and bring in Doc Rivers. I know you can make arguments about what he did with Ben Simmons, but
Ugh.
he actually improved that team. It improved Joel Embiid and got guys like Tobias Harris to have an outstanding season. So bringing in a new coach doesn't necessarily mean that something bad is going to happen. This coach could actually elevate Giannis, like we saw Doc Rivers do with Joel Embiid. I mean, Embiid was second place for MVP this season.
I agree with you. I think it could go both ways depending on the coach that they get. But I definitely think it could improve their team if they have the right coach.
Sure, sure. And speaking of coaches, great transition, Cam. Obviously, the big hire recently in the NBA coaching carousel was Chauncey Billups, 2004 NBA Finals MVP, assistant for the Clippers. Never been a head coach before, but he is going to be going to Portland. They've obviously moved on from Terry Stotts. So there are reports that Damian Lillard could want out after this. Don't know all the reasons behind that. So just your thoughts on Lillard in Portland right now, and then they just hired Chauncey Billups as their head coach.
I think with the addition of Chauncey Billups to the Portland Trailblazers, I think it'll make Damian Lillard kind of want to stay more. I think Chauncey Billups being a player in the NBA, I think that has more of an influence than, say, like if Brad Stevens was their coach. Because I feel like he would definitely have more of an influence since he played in the NBA. He was a star in the NBA for. I mean, I think this is, if you want Damian Lillard to stay, this is the way you should do it.
That's an interesting point because there are reports I saw yesterday that Lillard could want out, but
Yes, but I think he has more of a chance of staying than.
hmm hmm well, look, I'll say this at this point: if Damian Lillard wants to stay, well, then all power to him. That is just him continuing to be an extremely loyal player, nothing but respect. But if he wants out, I'll be honest, I'm not going to blame him at all because he's done everything for that city and he should be competing for championships every year with the superstar talent that he is. But obviously, with the talent around him, he hasn't been able to. But yeah, if Lillard wants to stay, all power to him. If he wants to go, I won't blame him either. So that's my take just when it comes to Lillard right now.
Now, if I this is definitely, like, it's not a serious argument, but if 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 Lillard decided to go to another team, I'd love to see him play on the Nets. That would be awesome.
You
It
would like to see him play on the Nets?
it would just be so funny. It would be Damian Lillard, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and I mean, kind of Blake Griffin, I guess.
Do you not think that if that trade happened, the Brooklyn Nets would have to give up one of their big three?
They probably would have to give up Kyrie Irving, but if they didn't, this is just hypothetical. It probably won't happen.
Yeah, yeah.
It would just be so funny to see him destroy every single team
Hold
in the
on,
NBA.
hold on. Mr. Cam, are you a fan of the Brooklyn Nets? Because let me explain to you the selfishness of these three superstars. Kevin Durant was moody in his final season with the Golden State Warriors, didn't give the Warriors a chance during free agency, and I'm gonna leave because they don't love Steph as much as me, and I want to be the guy. Kyrie Irving, you say you're gonna stay in Boston. What do you do instead? Fold under pressure and flat out quit. And then James Harden, what do? You want out of Houston, and instead of doing something like showing up every day and working hard, you show up overweight, go out partying with no mask during a worldwide pandemic, and you flat out quit also. So for you, Cam, to utter words like, oh, I would love Damian Lillard to go to that team and see them just absolutely just destroy and wreak havoc on the league, that is disgusting sound to my ears, my friend. I'm ashamed of you, I'll be honest, Cam. I thought you were much, much better than this, and I thought you understood the selfish personalities that these Nets players are, because let me tell you something. I don't care that Damian Lillard is not like those other players. I would still hate the Nets if he went there, and I'm still celebrating today the fact that they went out in the second round. So I cannot believe that you said that, Cam, because those guys are selfish.
Now, I'm not a Nets fan. I honestly despise Kyrie Irving.
Good.
I don't mind Kevin Durant, actually, but I'm not a huge James Harden fan. After he showed up with like 5,000 pounds, that was an embarrassment. That was embarrassing.
Oh.
That no NBA player should let themselves look like that. That's ridiculous. But I am in no way a Nets fan. But it would make me happy to just, like, the NBA is already kind of ridiculous. Like, they're hiring Nike executives to be their coach. If you want to add something more ridiculous, put Damian Lillard on the Nets. That would be ridiculous, but it would be cool to see.
Yeah, but Kim, would you want a team like that wrecking havoc in the Eastern Conference, and the Celtics maybe have to go up against them in like the second round or the Eastern Conference Finals? Like, would you want that, my friend?
Me being a Celtics fan, I would obviously not want to see that, but
okay, good.
I just think I think it would be cool to see all those stars on one team. It'd be like having an all-star team in the NBA.
All right. Well,
And
I
I'm
guess
not saying it's gonna happen at all, because if
I
it
don't know.
does, I will quit watching the NBA.
Of course not. But yeah, no. Getting back, just again, Chauncey Billups, he's going to Portland, and he joins the list, including Jason Kidd going
Yes.
back. Jason Kidd going to Dallas, for Carlisle going back to the Pacers, Ime Udoka going to the Celtics, and yeah, no, a fun little period here about coach maneuverings going on in the National Basketball Association camp. So anyway, I think I've let my sports segment go long enough, so I'll let you get on to the video game news.
All right. Well, that was actually very good news right there for our
Thank you.
NBA. Thank you, Will. And I just wanted to say, the Nets, if they had, I'd watch every single game. But moving on from sports, we have some video game news. If you let me just pull that up. So, as I said in the intro, I'll have a game of the week and some gaming news. Starting off with our gaming news, we have Grand Theft Auto 6. You know it's gonna be good when I say Grand Theft Auto 6. It may not release till 2024 or 2025. Says an insider at Rockstar Games, the people who made it. Which I never really played Grand Theft Auto, but I know a lot of people like it, and it's good news that they at least have Grand Theft Auto 6 planned. I mean, because how long has Grand Theft Auto 5 been out? Like 7, 8 years. So
You would know.
I think it's about time for a new game, for a sequel. And Call of Duty pulls up a win. I have no idea what the story is about, but Call of Duty pulls off a win against WWE superstar Booker T with a jury siding with it in a recent lawsuit regarding Call of Duty Black Ops Profit. Okay, I'm just not going to really dive into that because that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I don't know if that's a joke, but please tell me in the comments. New news. According to rumor by XboxERA.com's Nick Baker, Sony might show off the first gameplay for God of War Ragnarok at the next State of Play, and that would be a sequel to the game God of War. And Microsoft has finally revealed all the civilizations available in Age of Empires 4 at launch. Loki is coming to Fortnite later this week as an exclusive for Fortnite crew members. That's cool. I actually saw an image of it and it looks really good.
Nice.
Nice job, Epic Games. People who made it, obviously. Oh yes, rumors from an anonymous manufacturer suggest that the Nintendo Switch Pro could release in 2022 instead of 2021, as previously expected. I don't really care about that because I'm not really a huge fan of the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch Lite because I just find them kinda meh. And now we're gonna dive into our game of the week. So our game of the week will be Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, it's kind of a mouthful, but in this, it's a westernish game, which takes place in 1899. It can be an open world game, or you can play a story mode that's really good actually. It has 4 possible outcomes depending on what you do in the game. And I think the graphics are beautiful. The only fault in this game would be that Rockstar Games are mostly focused on Grand Theft Auto 5, so they don't update it as enough as they probably should. Like Grand Theft Auto gets like at least 2 big updates a year. Red Dead rarely gets a small update. So that would be the only fault. But other than that, it's an amazing game. You can do so much. And I definitely recommend it. 10 out of 10. That is our game of the week. And that is it for our gaming segment. Again, kind of short. But now we're moving on to movie of the week with Will.
All right. Well, even if that was short, I still thought that was a very good gaming segment, Cam. So thank you very much. You're very knowledgeable and know your facts regarding that. All right. Me and my father, Cam, sat down and watched this earlier this week or Sunday night, actually. So, and I just decided, I mean, you know this is as well as anybody, so I'll let you actually do a good amount of talking here too. This week's movie of the week, 2008, and it is, my friend, Iron Man 1. So, Cam, since you are the Marvel expert of this show, please explain to everybody why Iron Man 1 is a good movie.
Okay, so I definitely think that's a great movie of the week.
Thank you.
But Iron Man 1, it's it's one of the Marvel movies, obviously, and it's a multi-million-dollar movie. A lot of people like it, but I say it's probably one of the best Marvel movies. Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man is fantastic, and um, it has a great plot, and the acting of Jeff Bridges, who plays Obadiah Stane, it's top notch, and I think it has one of the best all time villains. Where the only problem I have with Marvel villains is, like in the Hulk movie, Hulk has his powers, and then they have Abomination, who has literally the same powers as him. He's big, green, and strong, and Hulk is big, green, and strong. So, in this movie, Obadiah Stane starts off as a business partner with Tony Stark. Also, Will, feel free to add anything you like here. It's technically your segment, so
No, you're doing great, Cam. This is awesome.
thank you. So it kind of starts off. It shows Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark as kind of a rich guy, kind of a jerk, but then he gets taken hostage, which is kind of abrupt. But and then he has to build a suit, an iron suit to get out. Yeah. But that being in that hostage experience kind of changes the way he sees what he's doing. Like
Good point.
his job is to make weapons, so he does the right thing and decides to start making weapons, and he makes his first ever Iron Man suit. And at first, like, he flies near the military planes, stuff, and they're kind of freaked out by it. And then Obadiah Stane, the bad guy in this movie, he kind of finds out and is jealous. If would you agree with that? He's jealous. Is that a good
Yeah,
word for
yeah,
it?
absolutely.
Um. So yes, he's jealous of Tony Stark's Iron Man suit. So he has to. The Iron Man suit has a core in it, and apparently no one else knows how to make it. Only Tony Stark. So he has to. Obadiah Stane has to. Like steal it from his suit and whatever, and use it to power his own suit. And it's a fight that you'll never forget. It's a great fight, but
It is a great fight.
I think it's just an all around amazing movie. Tremendous acting, great plot.
Yeah, I would agree. And as I've told you, me and my dad have been sitting down and we've been watching the Marvels in timeline order. And out of the three that we've seen so far, Captain America: The First Avenger, Captain Marvel, and Iron Man 1. Iron Man 1, I mean, it is my favorite by far. I mean, absolutely. Well, I have seen Black Panther. I would not put anything over Black Panther right now. I just think that's an outstanding movie. But Iron Man 1, best of these three Marvels that we've seen uh, recently, Cam. I just feel like in so many
Definitely.
ways it was just, better than the other two. Not that the other two weren't good movies. And I mean, like you said, I mean, it was a good plot. Also, just some of the things that Tony Stark said, I just chuckled at them because he is a funny guy sometimes.
I
I felt
agree.
like, but no, that is a very good movie, and that is Iron Man 1 shows why people like Marvel, in my opinion, uh, Mr. Cam.
Yeah, it's obviously one of the basics if you're gonna watch all the Marvel movies, and it's a great one. I mean, before it all gets complicated, like, because, like, Avengers Endgame, you need to watch every single Marvel movie, and that's like 12 2-hour movies.
Right.
Some even 3 hours. I mean, but the first.
Well, isn't Avengers Endgame like 3 hours?
Yes, it is. It's a very long movie. It's a very good movie. It's a very complicated movie. It's a lot of things. Um, but watching Iron Man 1, it's basic. It's before any of this crazy stuff happens. And it's always amazing to watch funny guy get iron suit and fly. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's always just nice to watch, and it's a very good movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, no, thank you for doing that, Cam. And yeah, no, I echo everything that you said. So yeah, no, I do plan on getting through all of these here, Cam. But,
It'll take a while, I'll say that.
it will take a while, but
Well, are you watching like one a week?
yeah, well, I'm actually planning on doing like 2 a week.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
So it won't take that long, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great that you're watching
I'll
the
probably
movies.
watch one tomorrow night.
What would be the next one in that series?
That'll be Iron Man 2
Iron Man
for
yeah.
timeline order.
Wow, Iron Man 1 to Iron Man 2. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
But don't get your hopes too high for Iron Man 2.
You told me, yeah.
Not a huge fan of this movie, but
Yeah.
aside from that.
How do you like the one after that, Cam, which is Thor?
Thor? I have mixed feelings. The first one it's shot at these weird Dutch angles. So
Alright.
the camera's always kind of like tilted at a weird Dutch angle. And I think it's kind of weirdly shot and directed. But I think Chris Hemsworth is great as Thor. And I also am not a huge fan of the love story between him and the girl in the movie, Jane Foster.
Okay.
But other than that, it's a good movie. The sequel to that is and then Thor Ragnarok, which will be the third one in that series. Outstanding. It's hilarious and it's a great movie.
That's great to hear. Yeah, great. So yeah, no, Iron Man 1, that's my movie of the week. And if I may also give a shout out to John Favreau. He was obviously the
He did a great
director,
job.
and everybody knows him as the creator of The Mandalorian. So there you go.
Yeah, he did a great job for that movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. Doesn't really seem like he does any bad movies or shows from everything that I've heard. So shout out to him. But yeah, that's my movie of the week, Cam.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds great, and I definitely agree. It's one of the best movies ever, probably. And so, yeah, that will pretty much wrap it up for the podcast. Do you have anything else, Will?
Nothing really, Cam, but actually I know this is kind of last minute, but do you want to say one of the Marvel shows or one of the shows out there as a show of the week? Because I know that you're very
yes.
involved with all of that.
That's a great idea, actually. So, for the show of the week, I'd probably say it would have to be WandaVision. Because there are
Right.
3 Marvel shows right now out on Disney+.
Yeah.
And the best one so far has been WandaVision. Then again, Loki hasn't come out with all the episodes yet. It's
Right.
only 3 episodes so far. And they're only doing 6, so... And I was not a huge fan of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I did not love that show, but it wasn't bad. It was a Marvel show, so obviously it's going to be good. But WandaVision was just outstanding. Everyone's acting was great. And Paul Bettany as Vision was just great. His acting, I think it's improved from, like, the Avengers movies. And the plot line with Wanda and Scarlet Witch is just outstanding. And I think Elizabeth Olsen definitely did great at that. So, yeah, I'd definitely say that is our show of the week. It's a great show, and I definitely think you should check it out.
Oh, trust me, Cam. I will. I just have to get through all the
Yeah,
movies, but I will. Absolutely.
definitely. Yeah, it's great. Highly recommend it. So, I think that will do it for our podcast. And I hope you all enjoyed it. Do you have anything you'd like to add, Will?
I just want to say again, thanks for having me on. Great to be on with you, Cam, and had a ton of fun today, as always.
Great. Also, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Fozzie. That's my main channel. I post gaming content on it. So check that out and subscribe to this channel. And yeah, have a great day. Bye.